What's going on, guys? Over here, welcome back to my F1 2016 mod career mode with the Haas Formula 1 team here on the 2014 game. We're back for round 3 for the Chinese Grand Prix. If you have missed the first 2 episodes of this series, then do go check them out. This series basically uploads every single time there's a real-life Grand Prix on the Monday following that real-life Grand Prix. And so obviously we had the real-life Chinese Grand Prix yesterday, and that was a thrilling race, but unfortunately not so much for the Haas Formula 1 team. So hopefully we can do the polar opposite of what Haas had yesterday, which was a very poor race for both drivers. Grosjean especially complaining of a poor car and just unstable car. So hopefully we can have a bit of a better time. So we're going to cut straight into qualifying, get straight into the action. You can see at the moment Hamilton is on pole position, provisional pole, and you can see at the moment I've set a lap time that's only got us up to 16th place and Grosjean 17th, so he's hoping we can improve on that. So we're starting our second flying lap here, and I believe the pit wall has a message for us.
Your tyres are up to temperature. You should have full grip.
Oh, well, thank you, Pitwall, for that crucial bit of information that I was looking for, that I'm sure many numbers were crunched back at the pit wall to give me that information. But anyway, we're going into the first corner now for our flying lap here at China. At the moment, 16th place. Let's see, hopefully we can put it into the top 10. We cut later on into the third sector, or go on to the third sector, I should say, and you can see so much traffic here. We overtake Perez and then Sauber of Nasser, I think that was. Then we got Pascal Wehrlein in the Manor. Then we overtake the Red Bull of Kvyat, I think that was. And then we got Magnussen up ahead in the Renault. So that was what, I think 6 cars or 5 cars in the span of like a few corners. So much traffic at the moment. Very, very surprising to see, actually, that there was so much traffic. So I have a feeling that generally, you know, the grid order so far at the moment as it stands is quite mixed up. So I'm guessing all those cars rushed out to put in their lap times, as did I, because it seems like none of us got our best laps in the first attempt, so we're trying for the second attempt. So a lot of traffic, but we managed to get through it unscathed, I feel. And now we're going to use Magnussen as a little tow here. He's in 21st place, so he's going rather slowly, but we can use him on a tow. He's going onto his flying lap, so I'll use him as a bit of slipstream. Let's see where we can get up from. 16th place, it's going to be 7th place, not too bad. Let's see if we can actually stick it up in 7th by the end of the session. And yes, we do. There you go. We finished in 7th place ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Our teammate Romain Grosjean, really poor qualifying for him, just showing how poor the Haas Formula 1 car is at China around here, reflecting the real-life performance. But I've been able to drag it up to 7th place, much like Fernando Alonso has done in the past, or other drivers in the past, dragging their respective cars up the grids. And hopefully I can do the same in the race. It's going to be a tough one. Lewis Hamilton on pole position, though, flexing the muscles for Mercedes. Him and Rosberg 1-2 for Mercedes. But all round, the team are very happy with that. We've outperformed our teammate, outperformed our goals for the weekend, comparing it to the practice pace we had. So all round, pretty damn good, and we can go towards the race now and see how that's going to pan out. It's going to be an interesting tyre strategy. I'm going to change it up a little bit, though, because the actual generic strategy calls for 2 prime tyres. Now, I'm going to change that around. I'm going to go for 3 option tyres and 1 prime tyre, just because I feel like we'll benefit maybe more from having the softer tyre, just so we can, you know, have that added pace, because it doesn't look like our car has the added pace to actually just generically be up here in the top 10. So let's go to the Chinese Grand Prix. Let's see how that pans out for us. Let's go to the grid. Right, so here we are for the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix, lining up right next to Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo. We go to 5 red lights. Can we improve upon Haas's real-life performance at the Chinese Grand Prix? We are away from 5 red lights. Let's see what we can do today. So we get a pretty poor start. The Sauber on the left. The Naz is coming up on the left-hand side. Ricciardo down my right. We're going to try and swoop around the outside, block him off a little bit, and we're going to try and see if we can maybe hang around the outside of Kimi Raikkonen. Vettel goes wide. We go down the inside of him. Very opportunistic there into first gear briefly, and now Ricciardo is taking us. I take it nice and easy on the exit on traction, because that was an issue in qualifying as well. So on a bit heavier fuel, need to really take it cautious there. And Ricciardo's now mugged us for 6th place there. So we're going to have to hang back, I think, about a move down to the inside. I briefly turned it a little bit right there to maybe think about diving down the inside of him, but I thought better of it. So we're going to stick in 7th place at the moment, see if we can try and overtake him later on in the Grand Prix. We've got Felipe Nasr behind us in 8th place, who's taken Sebastian Vettel. So Vettel with a very, very poor start. Again, like Australia, a poor start from him, so he's going to have to kind of sort out those issues. So on to lap 2 now, onto the towards the end of it in sector 3, right behind Daniel Ricciardo, who's getting a bit of a slipstream from the Williams car up ahead of, I think it might be either Bottas or Massa. could be one of them. I mean, they're both up ahead of us. So now into Rich Mix to see if we can try and gain on Daniel Ricciardo. Let's see, we're getting quite a long tow here. Obviously, no DRS open yet because it gets activated on the next lap. So just pure slipstream, Rich Mix at the moment. We're gaining. We're going to make a diving move down the inside, and Bottas going very, very slowly. Carbon fiber on the floor. There's been a crash up ahead. Bottas going very slowly, so slowly that Ricciardo is now going for a move there. You can see in the mirrors. He's going to try and hang around the outside of Bottas, and you can see there is Rosberg into the pits. Rosberg has lost his front wing. He is into the pit, so it's the complete opposite to what happened in real life. Rosberg has now lost his front wing in this career mode race, and he's had a pit very early. So unfortunate for Nico Rosberg, brilliant for Lewis Hamilton. He'll be very happy. He's in first place at the moment still, so he'll be very, very chuffed with that. But you can see right now Bottas right behind me still, keeping me honest at the moment. Ricciardo right behind him. I really thought Ricciardo would have got him there on the exit of the hairpin corner because he went so slowly. I only thought I was going to be dive bombing Ricciardo into that hairpin, and then lo and behold I saw Bottas going very slowly, so I thought, okay, why not, Bottas? You're leaving me the door open, so I might as well, you know, go through it. So yeah, we got 4th place there. So in 4th, let's see if we can try and catch up to Raikkonen on towards lap 5, and unfortunately Raikkonen is pulling away from us a little bit. You can see quite a big gap there to Raikkonen's dot on the mini-map. Looks like we don't have quite the pace to match the Ferrari car at the moment, I say. You know, you never know, on lower fuel we might be able to. And speaking of the Ferrari's pace, you can see he's overtaken Felipe Massa, so now Raikkonen's up into 2nd place. So that's going to be quite crucial because you may see Raikkonen maybe trying to overtake Hamilton later on in the Grand Prix. Obviously, Ferrari lagging a bit behind so far in this career mode in 3rd place in the Constructors, and the Haas Formula 1 team, we've been doing a great job with me and Grosjean, and we're in 2nd place at the moment as it stands before this race in the Constructors. But obviously, Ferrari looking pretty good here. Vettel's coming back at us. You can see Vettel, I think he's just behind Bottas and Ricciardo, and then obviously Raikkonen just got up to 2nd, so they're looking pretty good here. So on to the end of lap 5 through the hairpin. You can see the tyres starting to wear out. At this point, I thought I might as well try and go for an undercut, and I believe Felipe Massa up ahead, yeah, he's just thought the same thing. So we're both going for an undercut, although the difference is I definitely believe he's going on the prime tyres, whereas we are going on the options. So we're going on to the yellow wall soft tyres, and Massa's going on to the white wall prime tyres. So going to be a bit of a pace difference there. We may be able to actually overtake Massa when we come out of the pits, like, you know, within the first lap or so. We could have the pace on him on those fresh option tyres compared to his primes. And I believe Daniel Ricciardo is also coming to the pits behind us. There you go. He is actually still behind us there in 12th place as we come out in 11th. And with Massa just ahead of us, no other cars really close to us. So really the only man I'm going to focus on is that Williams car. But Ricciardo might close up on us, so we're going to have to watch out for that. But my eyes are firmly set on this white car. Let's see if we can try and blast past him. The Ferrari power shouldn't be too bad compared to the Mercedes power, and it's not too bad through the 2nd sector, because by the 3rd sector we close up to Massa, who I think is getting a bit of dirty air from these 2 cars ahead, which is Kvyat and Palmer. They're yet to make their pit stop, so they're a bit out of sync, so this is actually helping me a little bit. So we come through the swooping right-hander onto the main straight. I accidentally put it into lean mix. I rectify that as quickly as possible, put it back up to Rich, which is the one I wanted. And there we go. We swooped to the right-hand side with DRS open. As soon as I opened DRS, I actually made the move there. So up into 10th place. We dive it down the inside of Palmer and Kvyat, who are going very, very slowly. I'm sure their tyres are wearing out quite a bit at this point because the soft tyres really don't go that much. You can see Kvyat having a bit of a wiggle there on the rear tyres, and they both are going to come in for their pit stop. So just as I said, they're a bit irrelevant in that battle. So we're up into 8th place, and I think I saw Haryanto there just coming to the pits ahead of Kvyat and Palmer. So that is very, very strange. Yeah, well, we'll have to look into that afterwards, see where he actually ends up. But at the moment, it looks like he was ahead of Kvyat and Palmer there by the top left. But anyway, we can see a lovely little red car ahead of us, which is Raikkonen. So it looks like visually we're actually a bit closer to Raikkonen than before the pit stop phases. So that's quite nice to see. So let's see how it goes on. We cut later on onto lap 11. Tyres very worn at this point. We go on the exit of the corner. We lose the back end. A lot of traction lost through there. And Massa comes down the inside of us and swoops around. We do the switchback. We're now gone down the inside of him. We're actually ahead of him now at this point. We're back up to 3rd place, and I think he might get DRS. We're going to have to see. He's very, very close to us now, so the tyres are starting to go off right now in the 2nd stint, and we've actually got DRS. So the fact that I lost the back end, I actually ended up going behind Massa when we crossed the DRS line. So obviously the system is not fancy enough to really factor anything like that. So I actually got DRS off that, even though I was the one defending. So a little bit of a kind of unintentional cheeky move there for DRS. But anyway, we dive into the pits, just about missed the pit lane wall. Jesus, we got so close to the pit wall. But yeah, we're into the pits now. Obviously, I sort of had to make that call because clearly I didn't have the grip left in the option tyres, which is a bit unfortunate on lap 11. But I did stretch them a bit more. I stretched them one more lap because obviously we went 5 laps in the first stint and we were going 6 laps then. So I stretched them out a little bit. But now we're on to those white wall prime tyres. So we're going to about, I would say, lap 22, lap 23 perhaps, and then we'll go on to option tyres and we'll see how that goes. But Sebastian Vettel, crucially actually, that's very important, Sebastian Vettel has gone out ahead of us and jumped us in 7th place there. Remember, Vettel would have been on prime tyres, so he's not going to make another pit stop yet until about lap 16. So is this Vettel jumping us in the race with some good pace from that Ferrari that I mentioned before earlier with Raikkonen? I do not know if he's going to fall back eventually with the pit stop he's making, but at the moment Vettel has got ahead of us. So let's see now if we can push on these prime tyres, see how much pace these white wall tyres have. And let's see if we can try and catch up on the 2.6 gap to Vettel. We now cut on to lap 14 here. You can see we are closer to Sebastian Vettel. We've closed that gap down to about maybe 1.5. Let's see what the delta is on the actual timer when we come across the line. But I feel like we are a little bit closer. We've got Perez now behind us, who's come out of nowhere actually. And Daniel Ricciardo, who was behind us then before, has really dropped off the pace. He's kind of fallen off the face of the planet. I don't know where he is exactly. So we're going to have to see how that ends up for him at the end of the Grand Prix. You can see I'm pushing so hard to try and close up on these guys because I really want to try and overtake them, and I go a little bit wide previously on that turn 1 corner. And now we can see Felipe Massa has come out ahead of us. So these prime tyres, excuse my language, have been really, really shit for us. Really, really shit for us because Massa has jumped us, and I'm pretty sure now I've concluded that Vettel, he is definitely, like, you know, ahead of us, you know, indefinitely. He's not going to make a pit stop and fall behind us now by the end of the Grand Prix. He is with Massa on the same piece of tarmac, and he's ahead of us. So really, really poor first stint in the prime tyre for us. Only stint we're doing on the prime tyre, thankfully. But it really hasn't been a good one. On to lap 16, we're losing more time to Vettel. The gap is now 4.4 there. I think that is, or at least according to the top left. We're up into 5th place now as people make their pit stops. So people are now starting to make their pit stops for the next set of prime tyres that they're going on to. Obviously, remember, I'm going to about lap 22 on this set of tyres. So at the moment, a bit of a gloomy day on circuit. You know, it was going so well at the start, but now it looks like we're slowly really falling back a little bit, and we can't keep up with these Ferraris and Williams cars. On to lap 19 now. You can see we are closing a little bit back up to Vettel. The gap was 1.9, I think that was. So eventually Vettel's tyres start to fall off a little bit, but it's still not enough. You can see Ericsson, though, is 16 seconds back, so we have no worries behind us. So the worst case scenario is that we finish in 5th place, but I would really love to try and maybe get Vettel or Massa. And actually, interestingly, Massa overtook Vettel, and Massa is now into 3rd place, or what will be 2nd now as we've gone to lap 20 as people are making their pit stop. So at the moment, the order is Hamilton from Raikkonen, from, I believe, Massa, and then Sebastian Vettel, and then myself. But now we are continuing on for another lap now, lap 20. Despite the fact our tyres are still going off, you can see Massa is there behind us in 5th place. I was talking about a net position when I read out the order. So in the net position, Hamilton's 1st place. I'm 2nd at the moment, but obviously when I make my pit stop, I'll come out in like 5th or 6th. I'm hoping it's not 6th. I'm hoping it's just 5th at least. But you can see Raikkonen there behind me in 3rd. So yeah, bit of a frustrating stint, to be honest. I don't really know what much else to say, to be honest. Yeah, it's just rather annoying that the car definitely didn't have the pace, and we've sort of had to drag the car up to about 4th place or 5th place, and I can't really do too much more. And on lap 22, this is rather embarrassing. Kimi Raikkonen is closing up on us. He's already made his pit stop. I go down to lean mix purely because I have to save fuel, and I'm going to make my pit stop anyway, so I may as well save some fuel right now as he overtakes me. So yeah, what started off as a really good Grand Prix in terms of us climbing up the grid and kind of dragging the car up, it's become a bit frustrating because we can't drag the car up anymore. We're going to maybe have to settle for where we're gonna be in about 5th place. But we'll come into the pits and see what we can do anyway. We're going on to the yellow wall soft tyres now, so we could have a chance. We could have a chance of bagging Vettel or Massa. Probably not Massa because he's already overtaken us, but maybe Vettel, because Vettel's still yet to actually overtake us. He overtakes us now, and Vettel goes through there. So that is Vettel who's just gone through. So he may have a chance of overtaking him on these yellow soft tyres if we push like L. Like the Ferrari pit wall said in the real life Grand Prix, in the Chinese Grand Prix, push hard. If we push hard, we could maybe catch Vettel, and we can maybe... Oh, that was such a bad accent. I apologise. But we could overtake Vettel if we push hard. But we cut on late at the Grand Prix, the last lap of the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has won the Chinese Grand Prix in stark contrast to the real-life one. I've pushed like hell. You can see we're marginal on fuel. I tried my hardest, guys, but it just was no use. We come home in 5th place. We're actually -1 of fuel as we come across the line. I tried my hardest, but 5th place is going to be the place we finish.
Incredible stuff, dude. I know the car wasn't 100% today, but you've done a mega job. We'll look into that tire issue for the next race. Torque 1 and coast in. Torque 1 and coast in.
So a mixed bag of emotions for the end of the race, but as my engineer said, that is a mega job, because to get up into 5th place in the Haas car, when clearly our teammate was struggling to even get points, he's in 12th place there. I've got to take huge positives of the fact that I've dragged the car up into 5th place and we're battling with the likes of the Williams and Ferrari cars. That's great. Lewis Hamilton wins the Grand Prix, so he's going to get a bit of an edge on Rosberg there, who finished outside the points. So that's going to be very disappointing for him, and he wasn't able to climb back up, even though I did see him set some fast laps to the Grand Prix. So in the Drivers' Championship, this is how it looks now. Hamilton's in 1st place with 68 points. Rosberg now 2nd with 43. Raikkonen 3rd. Bottas 4th. I moved down to 5th from 3rd place, which is a little bit annoying. Hopefully we'll be right back up there and bouncing back in the next Grand Prix. Hopefully we'll see how that goes. Grosjean in 8th place as Vettel climbs up and Massa does in 6th and 7th. A little word on the Sauber cars. You can notice that Ericsson and Naz have got a good haul of points now, and Sauber are actually ahead of the Red Bull cars. Now, if you didn't know how this career mode works in terms of the database and how the game actually works in terms of the AI performance, basically I try to edit the database and try and match the real life Grand Prix as much as I can in terms of the performances of the cars, but it seems like whatever I did for this database, the Red Bull seemed to be a little bit lacking on power and pace, and the Sauber seemed a bit too good in this database right now for China. So I will try and rectify that for the next Grand Prix, which will be the Russian one, and I'll try and make sure that whatever Red Bull's pace is, it will be a little bit more similar to that, and I'll definitely try and push down Sauber a little bit, because you know, I'm not trying to go for all-out realism, but it has been sort of nice for the last 2 episodes to see my Haas car be pretty much where it is in real life. And then obviously we saw today with Grosjean, he was not on the pace that he was from the last Grand Prix, which is also the same sort of thing as in real life. And obviously I had me dragging the car up, but you know, we're not going for full realism, but it's nice to see a sort of kind of good pattern, and to see Sauber randomly up there in the points. I'll try and rectify that for the next race. So a little bit odd for that, but I'll try and fix that out. But anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed the episode, smash that like button. It'd be awesome. We can try and get over 1,000 likes. Awesome support on this series so far. I like the fact you guys are enjoying that I'm doing them straight after the real-life Grand Prix. I think personally as well, for me, you guys agree with me, it's a sort of nice little comparison almost to the real-life Grand Prix, but also just a topical sort of career mode race to do, you know, straight after the real-life counterpart. So anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of that race in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been Aarava. Have a good rest of the day, and I will see you guys next time.